Welcome, everyone, to Talk Around Riyadh, the Wheel of Time showcast. I am your host, Joe Perry, here with my co-host, Jen Isgro and Tom Kakoza. How you feeling tonight, Jen?
They need, bosoms.
Oh, wow, that's interesting, Jen. What have you been doing this past week?
So I've been smashing ants all week.
Again?
Yeah, Tom. No, Jen's not really here. Jen is on vacation with her family, but we have a wonderful guest joining us. He's been on the podcast before. We absolutely love him because him and his group give us all the good news that we love to talk about. We have Omar from WoTSeries. How you doing, Omar?
Good. How are you guys? Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for filling in. We were saying before we started the podcast that I think that's what led to this whole thing, right? We were saying to fill Jen's shoes, we needed to bring in the big guns, and you being our first one. And then next week we have another big gun, which I won't say who is. And people will just have to wait till next week to find out. So we don't spoil things on this podcast.
We spoil everything on this podcast, but that's okay. Omar, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Good to see you guys.
Tom, we were away for a week. So everyone, I know we didn't put out an episode last week. Tom and I were away in Lake George, and we planned on trying to record, but that just didn't happen. So there was a lot going on. So sorry about that, but you didn't really miss anything because there hasn't really been any news. Omar, why hasn't there been any news?
We're going to have something Monday, actually. So.
Oh, awesome. There you go. You heard it. So when this episode drops, you'll have news.
There will be out of date.
There will be news.
I did see one thing, Joe. Just on Twixter, whatever you want to call it, on the Twitter, the X. Someone was just casually mentioning how much they love the soundtrack to the Wheel of Time, and added Lorne Balfe just to say how much they needed season 3, and he responded that he was writing the season 3 soundtrack now. That was as of 4 days ago. So that's happening. That's
he's just writing it, huh? I thought you mentioned this also before we started recording, and I thought when you said I thought he was recording it.
Yeah, well, he said writing it now, and I think he had probably, we had made mention, I think probably about a month ago or so of like an interaction that he had with Rafe, just posting on one of Rafe's Instagram posts, like, "Hey, check your email." I need to check, Yeah. But so I would like, this is something that normally happens towards the end of post-production. It's usually one of the last things to happen in the cycle of anything filmed, because you really don't want to compose the score until like something's close to a final edit.
Yep.
So I think that's a really good sign for the fact that the show will be completed relatively soon.
So let's do let's do a season 3 release check, because I feel like every time we talk now, we have to bring this up and recalibrate. But I don't really think we've changed our thoughts too much. But knowing that he's writing the music, not recording it, does this change your thoughts on when you think season 3 is going to come out? I think we're still in like the Q1, early Q2 of next year.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I think that 6 months, 7 months is plenty of time
to write music.
Yeah, Lorne Balfe is unbelievably prolific in producing scores as well. So I don't think this is something that I don't think he's the kind of composer that takes like a year to craft his music. I don't know, Omar, if you feel any differently.
No, I'm on board with you there. I'm still in the Q1, end of Q1 of next year on this. The Amazon Press site. When they put a list of upcoming shows, The Wheel of Time is still not on it, even though they have like most of the upcoming shows on their website are listed for this year, with the exception of Reacher, which is listed just generally for 2025 without a date. So I think they're not going to push Wheel of Time on there until, when they maybe solidify the date in a couple months or something like that. But yeah, I'm still thinking maybe March. Sounds about good.
Do you think it's right? So Rings of Power is coming up. And a while ago, right, I was saying I was kind of hot taking that it could be right after New Year's, which I wouldn't be surprised if it was right after New Year's. I'm still going to throw that out there as a potential. But Rings of Power is coming out next week. Do you think they might drop a teaser for like during Rings of Power, since they figure there'll be a lot of people a lot of like-minded or people watching that show, or at least sometime during Rings of Power's run, maybe at the end, the last episode.
In my mind, yes, it would be nice. It's just kind of the last thing on their mind if they're pushing for the Rings of Power, is just trying to ride the coattails of that for Wheel of Time.
Yeah,
really, it would be. I'd like to believe it would be nice. They're thinking about it, but it doesn't sound like something they'd do.
So let's see. Rings of Power comes out the 29th. That's Thursday. So they confirm that they're dropping 3 episodes. So that means the whole run will be 5 weeks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That leads us up to the 26th for the end of Rings of Power. And then about 2 weeks later is New York Comic Con. Something's going to happen between Rings of Power and New York Comic Con. I think we're getting something from the Wheel of Time. I feel like we have to, even if it's just like a new cast member announced, maybe somebody we already know. I think we're getting something like official.
If you want something to happen to New York Comic Con, you have to convince me not to go, because the way it works is.
Did you get? Well, you were there last year, weren't you?
Every single time I go. I'm sorry.
You were there last year, right?
Yeah.
But there was a Wheel of Time, right? There was like producers though, right? And set designers.
Yeah. It was producers. It was Rafe was like did a thing where he probably slept on the couch and came on stage 15 minutes late. they had the VFX producer, like he was on stage and they asked him a question and he's like, "Hey man, I just signed checks. I don't."
Right. That's.
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't consider it was kind of nice to see them, but of the other 2 shows, they had like that Motel show and Invincible, I think it was. Like you can feel the excitement for the other 2 shows a lot more than Wheel of Time. It was like an also as an aside kind of show presence, if you will. Not like the year that you all went. Remember,
yes.
Joe, when you were asking the question?
Yes.
Yeah, that was something. And then the first year that they did the remote thing.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was good. But
all I'm saying, I'm staying away to increase our chances of news.
So. All right. Well, then if you stay away, that's good. I guess that's a good sign for all of us. So let's. You're like a mush or something. So speaking of casting announcements, right? We have a lot of actors that are identified as being potentially on the show, or that we're pretty damn sure are going to be on season or in season 3 of the show. We started going through this list a couple of weeks ago on our last episode. We're going to continue this list today with Omar filling in for Jen. And since I think Omar, this fits perfectly for you, because I'd say 95% of these were identified by you in WoTSeries. So, maybe there's a little color you can add on some of these. So I'm gonna jump right into it, right? So the way this works, Omar, is I'm gonna say one of the actors. I'll give you a little information about them or what we know about them, and then we're gonna go around and try to guess who they're playing in the show. Now, a bunch of these we have names for, so we could maybe talk a little bit about what we think that role is gonna be like in season 3. So I'm going to jump right into it right now. I got 2 characters that are connected, or actors that are connected. So I'm going to do them at the same time. Iman Marson and Ian Atween. Now, these are quote unquote suspected actors in season 3. And the reason is that there was nothing directly tying him to the Wheel of Time. So for Iman, right, he posted a picture while in the Czech Republic in June, July of 2023. He also posted a video of him practicing with a longbow, and his CV listed currently filming for Amazon's Untitled project, which is weird because it should have a title. That's the only thing that's weird for me, but whatever. And he has pictures posted with Ian Atween at the airport the day after the cast party in Prague. And then Ian Atween, he obviously was tagged in Marson's photos. His CR lists him as just finished wrapping a big Amazon project, and that was October of 2023. So I want to get everyone's thoughts on these. Omar, you guys weren't confident enough to say that they're definitely in the show.
Yes.
Can you maybe tell us what's that line that you walk? Like, when do you say, like, yes, we're going to put this in as someone we're confident is on the show versus, and this, we think they could be on the show?
Yep. So you'll notice, I mean, the line that we draw sometimes is that we have, like, one of the ones that you'll see on Monday, we've known they're on the show for quite some time. Didn't really, but just, it's one of those things, like, I can't provide 100% evidence or, visible evidence, but then their CV was updated. So, like, it's really simple. It says Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
And then we have other people that we know that they're on the show, but again, their CV is not updated, and you're like, well, maybe they were, maybe they weren't, maybe they had a small part and got cut. But then there's the in between where somebody says, hey, that's somebody who probably read their NDA or their agent did. But you know what? Yeah, they're in the show, but I can't talk about it until X time when the show drops, or a year from when I signed, or something of the like. And then you see that they put that line sometimes when the director matches and it's an Amazon project and the timing matches, and Ari said, hey, I know for a fact that they were in Prague because she knows these things. And then we're like, yeah, that's the person, because again, you like in these cases, honestly, 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 is 4 100% of the time. The only thing is that maybe their role doesn't make it just because it's not that big, right? And we've seen this happen before. We've had people who were online, but yeah. So these two cases where, like, almost like 99.9% sure, just don't think there's a way. And two, one of them, I think it's one of these two, was interesting, is that they shared an agent with somebody else who had the same exact language, somebody else who we knew was on the show, who had the same exact language on their resume to say, because sometimes you say secret project, NDA project, unannounced series, something like that. So when you get exactly the same language as somebody else, and you're there, and when you're there and you're in the locality, yeah, so it's you're in it.
Yeah. So with that being said, who do you think these two actors are playing? I mean, we got the longbow hint, right? And they were in the Prague, Czech Republic area, so that could be Two Rivers, longbows, Two Rivers.
Yes, I think it could be. I'm trying to remember. Is it? There's Jack Alcine, right? An older gentleman. So I think we released that casting a while. Is it?
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about him next. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So this could be their son, their relative, one of them at least. It would be one of the people where Perrin, I think, and again, the problem is when you don't do this as often, like talk about it at least. I don't know if we release some of the stuff or not. So hey, some of this, but I think there is talk. We did release like a partial one time of a conversation between Perrin and village folk, or the farm folk and whatnot. So I think this gives you in the backdrop there has to be a character like Jack Alcine, like Will Alcine, or somebody like that who is from the. I guess in the show we're calling the whole thing the Two Rivers. So there's going to be, there's going to be that. And if you look, by the way, the set, the Two Rivers set that Doric built, if you look at it from the aerial photo, you'll see the Two Rivers like as it was built the first time with some battlements, but also you see a couple of houses set to the side. I'm almost sure that those are going to be the place where they do some of these, Perrin goes to farm 1 and farm 2 and talk to people. And, he does the Taviran thing and talks to them. So, yeah, my guess is going to be Two Rivers people.
So, right, Will Alcine is one of the, is somebody who's in the Two Rivers during that time. And he plays a fairly large role, not huge, but, as the Two Rivers folk go, right? Is he the one that's supposed to be really good looking?
Yeah, I think he's the really good looking one.
So, I mean, judging by the pictures that Ari had posted in the article, I'm going to say then Iman Marson is Will Alcine. Sorry, Ian, but Iman's a little bit more handsome. Or at least
I will say this. I had the same thing, Joe.
It's because he's more handsome?
Well, I didn't write that down, but I did have him as Will Alcine.
All right. And then Ian Atween. Who's another Two Rivers person that's
So I put in Daniel Lewin.
Oh, Daniel Lewin. He's the fourth Taviran, right?
Yes, I believe so.
The fourth. He's the one on the cover of the Eye of the
He's
World.
the fourth. He's a non-Taviran.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the fourth boy. Sorry.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm trying. That's a good one. I'm trying to think of any other Two Rivers people, but I can't remember any of their names.
There's a bunch of them. I don't have that book nearby, but
I'm gonna steal that, Tom. I'm gonna go with Daniel Lewin as well. So Omar, you feel confident with this? Since you're sitting in for Jen, so Jen's gonna take these picks that you pick. So.
I was gonna say, is Jen usually confident with these? Because if you want me to play that role, I can.
Yeah, do it. No, she's not usually confident.
Okay, I don't know then. I think that's
I'm putting it down for all three of us. Will Alcine and Daniel Lewin. I like that. All
right. Someone in chat also mentioned Ewan Finnegan.
Oh yeah, Ewan Fingar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who was the guy with the nose that like just Robert Jordan with Nas talking about the guy's nose?
I don't remember.
There's just one guy. It's always his nose.
It might be Ban. Yeah, I think it's Ban Alcine. Yeah.
Oh, is that Ban Alcine?
Has the big nose. Ewan is the one who was a kid who got huge while they were gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
He definitely. Yeah, he does.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, they say he grows like a full 6 inches. Yeah. Ban Alcine. I like that. I like the Ewan Fingar though. I could see Ian Atween as Ewan Fingar, so that's what I'm going to put down. I like it. All right. Let's move on to Paul Maynard because you mentioned him, Omar. So this was one of those unconfirmed people listed as Jack Alcine on his CV, and he had Thomas Napper listed as the director. Now, Paul Maynard lives in Prague, so he clearly was there because that's where he lives. And just a reminder, right? Thomas Napper is directing Block 2, which is episodes 3 and 4.
That's correct.
So, I mean, that makes sense that would. So, okay, so let's talk about this. So that means Perrin's back in the Two Rivers probably by episode 3, right? Or do you think we're going to see the Two Rivers before Perrin gets there?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, we could, but when Perrin gets there, I'm really not sure. I'm always confused about when they're going to get people. And I'm afraid to make the predictions just because of what happened in season 2. Like, Valda, and it was like everybody's like nobody got stabbed and everybody's in a different place now. Deal with it. So I hope we're not getting that. But sounds like we get a good chunk of White Tower stuff. But yeah, I think by episode 3 we definitely see Perrin there.
Now I'm wondering, right? Because I was just assumed, just because it happens in the books, that Perrin, we'll see the first time we see the Two Rivers is when Perrin gets back there. But I mean, there is potential that we see Dane there beforehand, like maybe doing some, bad things to the Two Rivers folk. I don't know. Would you, Tom? Would you like to see that, or you just want to be like, no? Well, let's go to the Two Rivers when Perrin gets there.
Yeah, I think it's. I think it's better to follow Perrin and be surprised with Perrin that Dane is there, right? Even though literally the last time you see him, he's being dragged off screen shouting "Two Rivers, Two Rivers." Yeah. But it's been a long time. People may forget. I think it's better to see it from his point of view. The only thing that I think, if you wanted it to not see it from his point of view, right? There's it's Fayo's supposed to be in this season. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how they're going to introduce her, but if you didn't see it from his point of view first, I wouldn't mind seeing it from her point of view first, and like having her as like showing up to the Two Rivers for, right? I think when you originally meet her in the books, she's heading that way because she thinks that the horn might be in the mountains of the mist, right? Mm-hmm. So, but no, I think you should follow him. Like, I don't want to make it too complicated.
And I like sometimes how in the show they do when they change things around, they do end up taking something that happened in the books and just they change the scenery or the purpose of the meeting. Remember those two hunters of the horn that were like full of themselves when Gaul was captured?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't see as far fetched as instead of those two, you get Luke and you get a Luke Fail to the Two Rivers. Maybe totally could be Fail introduced to the Two Rivers, but that would be a nice setup to tie in the Hunters of the Horn, Fail, a Hunter of the Horn, who's Luke, who's that's what he's supposed to be. So if we get those two, that gets him to the Two Rivers, and then Perrin gets to the Two Rivers. But I'm also really liking. I would like to see, just like in the books, like Perrin coming back and being, like our first view of him or of the Two Rivers is him, like him surprised by it and it surprised by him because he's now permanently Golden Eyes and he meets Marin Alvear. Would like to keep that. But then there's also the twist of the recast of Marin Alvear. Do they have to introduce her first before he gets to see her? So
he'll probably go to the Two Rivers and be like, Mistress Alvear.
Yeah.
You've changed so much since I've last been here.
Yeah.
I think the surprise will be, Tom, to your point about like people are going to, it's not a secret that Dane's going to be going to Two Rivers just because of how season 2 ended. But what will be the secret for the viewers or the surprise will be that Fane is there and he's kind of latched himself onto Dane. That's what I think we're going to get. And that'll be the twist, or not the twist, but the little surprise for the viewers. As for Fail, they could just do, like, I don't know, depending on what goes on with Gaul. If Gaul's not in the show, or if he just, is not in the season or whatever, they could just have Fail in that same scenario as Gaul was, and that's how Perrin meets her. Like she's captured by Hunters of the Horn or something like that. Or you could have the same scene, and that's where he meets Fail and Gaul.
I as much as I want it, I don't see. I don't know. I'm trying to prepare myself for Gaul not being in this series.
Yeah.
So does Perrin get a party to go to the Two Rivers, like, but without Fail and Gaul, for example? It's Bane Shiad, Perrin and Loyal go to the Two Rivers together.
Yeah, yeah, and then Fail could just be there or show up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jack Alcine, right? So he is one of the farmers in the Two Rivers, right? He has like one of the largest farms in the Two Rivers, and he's got a big family. And he's the one where when Perrin goes, right, Lord Luke tells them all to kind of stay out and protect the farms. And Perrin's like, visits them and says like, no, that's stupid. Like everyone should go to the Two Rivers. And that's when his little Taviran-ness speech happens. So, I mean, is he playing the same exact thing? Are we going to get that scene, I should say, in the TV show, you think? Or he's just like a background character they just named because there's plenty of names in the Wheel of Time.
Which scene?
The scene where Perrin goes to the farm, his farm.
Yeah, I think, again, I'm trying to remember. I think we released that. It was a partial script that we saw that does have that conversation between Perrin and Jack Alcine.
Yeah.
So I think we get that.
Yeah. So then, I mean, that's pretty clear. Jack Alcine. Yeah. Anyone think he's not Jack Alcine?
No, let's lock it in.
Yeah. All right, we're locking it in. All right, next up, this is another character that we received the name, or another actor we received the character's name, Jared Doric. And this was revealed by John from What Up in one of his videos. And he revealed that Jared Doric is going to be playing Jacob Carradine, which was an interesting one. Now, Carradine does first appear. Well, no, he first appears in book 2, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, in two different roles.
Right.
But I was thinking of as Jacob Carradine, but he is in book 2. So what kind of role? What do you think we're getting him in? I think we talked a little bit about him in Tanchico.
Yeah, I think that's how John presented it. Was that he was part of the Tanchico storyline?
Omar, did you? Go ahead.
Which he is in the books. I just want to be clear on that.
Yeah.
Right.
Omar, did you or anybody from WoTSeries have any info on him, like before John or after John released this?
I mean, honestly, I don't remember the timing exactly, but his resume just started popping up. He updated it recently to say that he's in the show. So, yeah, but I do agree with the Tenchico stuff. It's one of those things like in a bubble, if we didn't know that much about the Tenchico timeline, I mean, it's almost like sometimes you get what they had in the Two Rivers, you get Byer and you get a couple of the other, baddie 1, baddie 2 from the White Cloaks.
Yeah.
So I could see them fitting here or there, but I think on balance, if you're going to have Nynaeve and Elaine and, Tom and whoever in Tenchico and the Black Aja, it does make sense to have a White Cloak there as part of the storyline.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot of White Cloaks I feel like we're getting more White Cloaks in the show than we get in the books, or maybe it's just they're getting like the same amount of time, but everyone else is getting less time. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that on balance, they're a stronger presence in this series than they are in the books. Although the White Cloaks are early in the books, I think they're pretty heavily present. They just kind of dip down in the middle section of the books, and then they come back at the end when like with Galad's storyline and stuff. But I think, I think they're a more effective group of baddies in the series than in the TV series than they are in the books. So
we've got Dane. Dane's definitely going to be in this season, right?
Right.
We've got Jacob Carradine, right? Now we have Bornhold. Jeffrey Bornhold's dead. The only other White Cloak that we know is Iman Valda. So you think if Iman Valda is in this season, is he having his own storyline, or you think maybe he's part of one of these storylines, the Two Rivers or Tenchico with Dane or Carradine?
I would put him in one of the two, honestly.
Yeah, which one do you think he would fit in better, or would you like to see him?
That's a good question. Where would Jen want to see him?
I don't know.
Jen hates Valda, so and she likes
I mean,
Dane.
Is there a place for him? Because the big contest here is between Perrin and Jay Duffy. What's his face? Dane.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of hate between Perrin and Valda, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Valda's also he wasn't in Valda's path initially. He wasn't that kind of White Cloak.
Right.
So maybe he's the guide for Dane to make it to the Two Rivers kind of thing. Like he's like, hey, see, I was right. Your way was wrong. I'm the real, blah, 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 shepherd of the light, and you need to follow our way. And then he just sort of like gives Dane that shove that you need to go do this. So I see him being part of that maybe more than the other. And then also maybe Valda takes the place of what's the great captain's name? Sorry, I forgot his name.
Pedro Nile.
Yeah, maybe he plays that role a little bit, where he's sending people out. But yeah, I'm not really sure. But I would like to see some interaction between him and Dane to be the new father figure, less savory, to just give Dane cover on being a worse human moving forward.
So if they do that, I feel like then maybe Fane wouldn't go to the Two Rivers. If Valda's going to be that whispering poison into his ear, then you don't need Fane there necessarily, because Fane kind of would take that role on. But I will ask you this, Tom. We've talked a lot about Galad recently. Do you think Iman Valda's on his own storyline and it's involving Galad, or at least we get some Valda-Galad interaction instead, and he's doing a totally different story than these other two?
I do like that, and I think you can kind of merge the both of them. I think other than Joffrey Bornhold kind of being someone in charge of other White Cloaks, the White Cloak hierarchy has not really been clearly defined. So I heard drums or a guitar, but I'm not sure what that was. Anyway, I like Eamon Valda in this season kind of being set up as somebody who's like approaching the top of the White Cloak hierarchy, right? Maybe like seizing Joffrum's position as a captain now that Joffrum died, and like being so like you could almost have him in episode 1 or 2 or whatever the first episode that you're going to see them in, like sending Dane out, and then like from behind, like as it's like Fane can just walk out behind him and say, and you have to take him with you, like that sort of a vibe, and then he can show up at the end of the season when you find out. We talked about this in a different episode, right? Like if Galad's in the tower and you see he's like reading the book and like he's going to meet people, you don't know what's going on, and at the end of the season it's the kind of thing where you finally see who he's meeting, and it's even Valda like inducting him into the children. Like I think that'd be a good kind of open close for that guy. I think that they've done a good job of setting him up as like a despicable villain, and like to keep that going, he can be that force for the entire series until at the end he gets kind of overthrown. And I also just hope that he's in 2 slings in this season.
So Dana Lou's pointing out in chat, right? Byer was the one who was in Dane's ear in the books, right? And Byer was the one who was there when Perrin and Egwene got captured.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're combining Valda, or merging Byer into Valda, or he's kind of absorbing Byer's role. So I think then maybe we lean more towards what you said, Omar, then that he would go to the Two Rivers with Dane, because that's where Byer goes, right? Byer goes with Dane to the Two Rivers.
Yeah, or he sets him on his way. I mean, I like both, but it's just again like Tom was mentioning, with Valda they've done it well, where he's just like not always there. He just like does his thing, and then we don't see him that much. But he appears, sets things in motion. So maybe we get that. But yeah, if he's in the Two Rivers, I'd like it. But I also would like to have Fane in the Two Rivers a little bit.
I would too, because I don't know where else you put him. But now you have, we were talking about this a few episodes ago, that you have the White Cloaks, you have Fane, you have Slayer / Lord Luke. There's a lot of going on in the Two Rivers for Perrin and all. So
but look at Tanchico. Tanchico's gonna have the Black Aja. It's gonna have the White Cloaks. It's gonna have Tom Merrilin, bringing him back into the story in some way. Yeah. Like I think a lot of storylines are gonna be really packed. We can hope.
I told you I'm working into every episode.
So yeah, I think they're gonna pack it up. But that goes back to something that Omar, you were saying earlier. I think as soon as they can start that storyline up, the Two Rivers storyline, the better served they'll be to just kind of get all of those, like give all those things time to breathe.
Yep. All right. I'm going to move on to the next actor that we have listed here. Now, this one I put an asterisk next to, because this was a WoTSeries one, Omar, Nuno Lopez. Right? According to, in season 3, according to his agency profile, right? He was going to be in the show. But since that, he's been sued for alleged rape. So nice. It's potential that he might not be on the show anymore, or, they replaced him, or he never filmed his stuff. I don't know. Omar, do you have any other information? Like, does he still have that on his resume, Wheel of Time?
It was never on his resume. He was actually he's with the 2 or 3 different agencies, and the one that actually put it out, it's one of Yosha's agencies, and Yosha Stradowski. He's with the same agency, and they don't do a resume. They link out to a different website, but they always do a full write up on their talent. And he's one of those where he had a write up, and then at the end, and by the way, he's also in the Wheel of Time coming up. And that's sort of how they presented Yosha initially. So, and then they removed it, but it could have been they removed it because this happens a lot. Like Paul Maynard, we just talked about, he had it on his resume, and we released it, and then within a week it was gone, right? And there's Solinda Thandi that we released not too long ago. It's still there. So I really don't know. I would love to get an answer one day for these. Why do some get removed and some don't? I have a theory that people who are coming back to the show
remove it. Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Maybe because the other one's only it. She's done. She filmed her parts already, and she's done. Like, what can they do? unless like we can collect money from her.
But the question to like if you pull Tom on what I'm trying to find this image, and I will tell you if I think he's still there or not on Nuno. I'll try to find it. But
Okay.
Tom, what do you think? Who do you think he's playing?
All right. Well, I think my first supposition by looking at him and like from what I recall of the original article and whatnot, my first supposition was that he was Asmodean. I think he had the look.
He's a DJ.
He's got a musical vibe to him, but he also has, in my mind, the right
song?
look.
Like, didn't somebody post like music they sang or something like that?
I think I played some of his music
on the episode.
On the show, on the episode. Yeah. It was him singing in English, though. If memory serves, it might have been somebody else. Never mind. That might not have been him.
No,
So,
I think it was.
He was in South Africa. That's what I wanted to find out. He was in South Africa. So that tells you that this year he was with a production earlier this year.
So yeah, I think that was part of the. I think that was part of this here that he was in. Let's see, I have it listed here. He was in Prague in mid-May for a month, which is filming started early May or late April.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in April, I think started.
So he was in Prague during that time, but you all said he was in South Africa. So that's South Africa filming didn't start till much later.
Yes, South Africa was started in February of this year. So he was in Prague, he was doing filming there, and he was in South Africa as well. So again, just to answer that question, is he still in the show? That news I think came out before, and like we said, shows have done this before where they completely erase someone and some reshoots and the like. But the fact that he was in South Africa means that he's likely in the show still. Yeah. And somehow I have reason to believe that he might be connected to the Andorran storyline.
The Andorran. Ravine?
Could be.
What would Ravine be doing to Chico though? He does have a Ravine look to him.
Well, being in I mean, if he's Ravine, for example, and he's in South Africa, doesn't necessarily mean he's doing Tanchico. He could be doing. We know they did Age of Legends, like South Africa.
Oh, that's right, they did.
They did Tanchico. They did Age of Legends, right? So you could fit. Honestly, I mean, the way the show's going, you can fit Ravine anywhere you want, right? Like you can have him show up in Tanchico to talk to the Black Aja. You can show, but yeah, I think he was in Africa. He was in South Africa. So
I'm putting you down as Ravine, Omar, for Jen.
Okay. Sorry, Jen, from.
All right, so you have to go with a different Forsaken, Joe. Sorry.
Well, I don't think Ravine's going to be in the show. So if he's going to be a Forsaken, I would maybe say Samael. But I don't think he's going to be Asmodean.
How about Gareth Bryn?
Gareth Bryn, potentially. If he was in Prague, was also White Tower, right? He could be somebody related to the White Tower, though I don't know. Maybe he's Hamar, Tom. Hamar, or you have him listed. You got somebody else's.
That's fun. This could be your chance.
I like your Gareth Bryn theory. I'm going to put that. I'm going to go with that.
Ooh.
I'm going with Gareth Bryn. I don't think he's on the show. Actually, no. I'm going to say this. I don't think he's on the show.
Oh.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say he's not in the show. Tom.
Well, I went first.
Who did you say? I'm sorry.
Asmodean.
Right. Sorry. I didn't write it down. All right. Tom's got Asmodean. Jen has Ravine. And I have him not being in the show at all.
We're gonna need bumper stickers that say "Who cut Asmodean?" So.
Who cut Asmodean? Boy. Maybe I guess we could do that. I mean, we have the picture. We have Moraine cutting Lanfear in season 2. So. All right, I'm going to jump over to another cast member for whom we have a character name. This is Rob McLaughlin. He is presumed to be Jack Lunault. And I don't think there was any additional information about him that at least I could find. So, Jack Lunault, he's a dark friend in Tarabon or from Tarabon.
Yes. Who comes later in the series? He's not like.
No, he's okay. He works for Aramilla, right?
Yes.
In
Later,
Camelin.
much later in the Succession line, I think he's referenced torture or something like that, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah. So this might just be hey, here's a name that.
So in Camelin, a random dark friend, you think maybe he's just a dark friend from Camelin or from he's going to be in Tenchico?
Let's put him in Tenchico, honestly, if I were to do that. Just kind of you get the Black Aja, you get Jacob Carradine, and you get just like the guy, and there's wasn't Millis Kane going to be in? Because there was, I still hate you guys for some of your questions at the trivia at WotCon.
That's all Tom. It's all Tom.
Wasn't the leader, and Tom, do not remind me about you being a white. I still didn't. But anyways, so yeah, maybe it's good. It could be Willis Kane and this guy as a, kind of like, the local chapter of the Dark Friendry.
I like it.
All right, I like that. I'm putting that down for Jen. All right, so could he be? All right. Do we have Matt? How does Matt go to Tenchico? Right, we're pretty confident that Matt's going to Tenchico.
I don't know.
So no, I'm gonna answer that question here. Right, similar to what happens in the books. Matt goes back to the White Tower with the girls. Right, he escapes from Tar Valon. Aline gives him the letter to give to his mother. He goes to Camelin. Right, we've established Camelin earlier in the season, or maybe this is around the time we establish it. He goes to Camelin, and right there's bad dudes, or at least one big bad dude in Camelin with the queen. Who's that guy? Komar, right? Komar's the guy working for. Maybe this guy replaces Komar.
Oh. All right.
That's what I'm gonna say. Komar.
So does Matt then go to like? Did we talk about like? Did we think that Matt's going to be in the tower too?
I have no idea.
I think that he is, and this is like we talked about. Yeah, I think we talked about. Rafe had made mention in like a Twitter interview a long time ago.
His
like
response to John's question.
that like he was working that we would see a version of the Matt versus Gilad and Gowan fight. That was still to come. And there were a couple other things I can't remember off the top of my head right now, Omar. But there were a couple other pieces of like circumstantial evidence like that led us to believe that Matt's probably going to be in the tower.
So I wonder if the version of that is going to be like akin to the version of Rand and Torok's showdown in season 2.
Just turns around and runs away.
Yeah. Matt just, I don't know, hits them both on the head right away, and that's the end of it. I don't know, something stupid like that. Tom, your thoughts?
I like your idea, Joe, except I don't want Matt doesn't have any ability to travel quickly on his own, and I don't want him to spend another season mostly just traveling from one place to the other. So I'm going to have that same kind of dark friend plot to kill Aline, but just happen in like Matt hears that in Tar Valon, like on his gambling night out, and heads out after the girls to
all right. So similar role, but in Tar Valon instead of.
Yep.
Okay, I dig it.
This guy takes the place of that character and the Gray Man at the same time.
Okay, we'll do that. All right. Next up, we have. We could talk about this. I don't even know why I put him on this list. We have Callum Kerr. I don't think anybody. We talked a lot about him. Galad. Anyone here not think he's Galad? Okay.
No. Yeah, it's like the funny thing. Remember when we released that casting on the resume, which was flipped really quick?
Mm-hmm.
He was Galad Trakand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes like, why can't we just get a clean one? Sometimes some of these, just give me.
I think his name's going to be Trakand in the show, just to like for less confusing for the viewers.
Yep. Like who's
yeah,
especially Damadred. He's Moraine's what?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, could be
exactly.
Yeah, I really think he's Galad. I did see him post, because he's very active on Instagram for his music.
Mm-hmm.
So one time, like he mentioned something about being in a show that's going to be exciting coming up next year, something like that. So I don't see why he wouldn't still be in.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go to somebody who could be working closely with him on the show. Potentially, we don't know. We don't know who he's playing, but Mr. Luke Featherston. Now, he was in Prague in late May, right? That's towards the beginning of filming. That's Prague stuff. So that's Two Rivers, Camelin, White Tower stuff, potentially maybe some other sets there. I think we had this narrowed down. We talked about him. I think there was basically like two options we thought he could be. I would like to get your thoughts, Omar, on who you think Luke is going to be in the show.
Yeah, I'm on behalf of Jen. I'm going with what's Galad's actor's name? Why am I forgetting now?
Callum Kerr.
Yeah, he's Galad and Luke is Gowan.
Gowan.
It has to be. I just don't see how that's not who he is.
It's so weird though because they actually have the opposite looks. Like I feel like Luke Featherston is more of a Galad because he's like got more of a pretty look to him and Callum Kerr is a little bit more rugged, like I've always pictured Gowan.
Yeah.
I just feel like Luke Featherston looks like Yosha.
Yeah.
And is more believable, even though Galad's got dark hair, is more believable as his half brother, And I will say my initial when I first saw him before we knew where he was or anything like that at all. My first thought is that he looked enough like Yosha that he could be Lord Luke. But I guess if I don't know if the filming situation matches up for that to be a viable thing, and I think age-wise, he's younger, so I'll go with Gowan as well.
All right, just to be different, I'm going to say Lord Luke because his name's already Luke, so
yeah,
don't have to change it. I feel like he's
like Tony Danza. He has to play again him Tony and every thing.
No, I feel like he's probably Gowan, but I'm not going to like it if he is because I think he's. I don't know. Maybe we need some women's opinions on this. That he's much prettier and more Galad-like in his looks than.
But I do have to say, with this show, honestly, the acting has been phenomenal. So
yeah,
just like I don't see these two being any different. I think a Luke like Luke here selling Gowan is like if he does it like based on what we've seen in season 2 and season 1, I think they'll make it super believable. But the hope is also they make it super believable, but not make him a likable character, please.
Yeah, I guess they could just. They're gonna have to.
I like everybody. I don't know.
They're gonna have
to
make
they made Leandrin a likable character.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they could. Maybe they put some ugly makeup on him or something like that. I don't know.
He's not. He's handsome.
I know he's very good.
Just
looking.
I'm saying Gowan is handsome. He's not.
But he's not. Yeah, he's not Galad.
Right.
I guess whatever. We'll see. I'm going to say Luke just to be different, but yeah, I do think he's Gowan as well, just because they all have that similar look to them. And you're right, Tom. He looks like Yosha a bit, so it would have. It must have been a big personality thing. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Maybe Rafe likes Gowan better than Galad. All right, moving on. I'm gonna go to another actor who we have a name for, a character name for. This is Olivia Popica. She was listed as Jean, according to the WoTSeries. Omar, you had pointed out that had found out that her CV had that listed. This was another Airy find or Airy article. And remember, we did have that previous audition script that you guys released that was believed to be for Jean Cade, who is a Black Aja, one of the Black Aja. I don't see any reason why she wouldn't be, right? We already have, oh God, what's her face? Joya in season 2. We have, what's her, God, I'm blanking here. It's been a while. Who's the other one we talked about in the last episode that you identified? Ispan, yes.
So in the photo, Ray, Popica is close to Ispan. So again, and her, character, like I think she was in Aries radar a long time ago, like one of those just weird finds, but just no confirmation, but almost like 100% sure this is her. And then, when the resume was updated with the role name and we had the script, it just all matches up that she would be Gianna Kaida, I think.
Gianna Kaida, that's a new pronunciation. I'm very curious.
It's from, I think from one of the books, because it changed, I think, over time. But I think that's how I remember it from.
Yeah, I don't remember how they pronounced it. Yeah, it's a good one. We'll find out soon. I wonder how Rosamund pronounced it. Interested to hear that. So she's one of the Black Aja that flees the tower, right, with Leandrin. So yes. I'm going to go out on a limb and say she's going to be doing the same thing as she does in the books for the most part. Is she the one who has the balefire rod in Tanchico?
I don't remember.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, the one who just goes ape with it all over the place.
Yeah. Yep, she does.
Yep.
She almost sunk the ship when they went to Tarabon. Yeah, she uses it in the fight in the Panarch's palace.
Yeah, after the Nynaeve
Moghedian showdown.
Oh my God, what is me forgetting names today? But
yeah, after that thing. It's contagious. Yeah, and then she gets killed by Tom during the last battle.
She makes it almost to the very end.
Right, she was using like the mask of mirrors to look like Cad Swain.
Right,
and then Tom kills her. At the very end. There,
yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's composing his poem. Epic tale.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced she's going to be playing a very similar role. Maybe she dies earlier. Maybe she does.
Let's make her bring her. Let her play it out. Play it out.
All right, let Jean live.
Get to the end.
Have her until the very end. All right, moving on. We have another actor who's suspected. This is the last of the suspected. Omar, this was another WoTSeries find. This was, of course, it was Airy as well. So this was Natasha KAC. So she was in South Africa in February of 2024 when there were other cast and crew had arrived. So again, suspected, not 100% or not that confident, 99% confidence that you usually have. With that being said,
she's going to be in the show.
You're pretty confident she's going to be in it. So with that being said, who do you think she was going to be in the show? South Africa. So that means Waste, Age of Legends, Tanchico, right? Probably those storylines.
Yeah, I'm going to put her Waste Aiel.
Aiel. Any particular Aiel?
Yeah, definitely thinking Aiel.
What? Anyone particular you have in mind? She does have the reddish hair too, the red hair.
Yeah.
She is tall.
Yeah, I don't know.
She was in the Halo TV show.
Yeah.
That's 2 Halo people. Actually there's 3 Halo people, I think, in the Wheel of Time. Maiden, Wise One.
Yeah, I think I was thinking when we first saw her and got sort of the quasi confirmation, I was thinking, and again because of the Halo connection, because remember we also got Basan from Halo, so I figured maybe make her like a Sulin or something like that, or just kind of wise one of those two.
I'm gonna put down Sulin for Jen then. She's young for Sulin. Sulin's supposed to be a younger Aes Sedai. I'm sorry, a younger Aiel maiden. I feel like she would be a maiden potentially, just because of that experience in Halo, where she was kind of a physical role. Although, to be honest with you, I don't even know if she was in the suit half the time, because it's like totally covered head to toe for most of that stuff. So it could have been easily a stunt person, but she is tall. Aiel, Mulaney.
That's who I have. I have her as Malay.
I'm gonna say that too.
Malayan, however you want to pronounce it.
I wouldn't want her as Melaine because there was another actor who also we put out that auditioned for Avienda, and we know that she didn't get it, and then auditioned for Melaine and maybe got it. So we don't often get to see somebody audition and get the role. Like most of the auditions, I would say 95% of them kind of like you see the actor auditioning and then you never see them again. They're not in the show. But that one, we know she's in the show, but she auditioned for Avienda, didn't get it, auditioned for Melaine and probably got it. So,
cool.
So I'm thinking that's why I would exclude Melaine from that one.
Huh.
Okay, great. You're giving me an opportunity to change my wrong answer. I'll take it.
So
I knew
I'm
Jen would give you an
changing
who is Sulin is an older, right? She's an older maiden. I'm trying to think of some of the other maidens.
So there's Anila. She's the short one, I think, right? She's a younger.
Yeah.
Oh no, she's older too, because she thinks of Rand as like her son.
Well, but that doesn't matter. I think she's of the same age as Rand. Some of the maidens think of them as a brother. Some of them think of him as a kid. It doesn't make a difference. There's another one. Who's the one who gets lost in Shadow Logoth?
Oh, Leia.
Yeah, I think something like Leia. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. That's my pick. Go ahead. Just Leia. To be different.
I like that one. There's also the ones who help Sulin shave Essendra. Oh God, what are their names?
I don't remember.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up real quick. Oh, Jolien. That's who I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Jolien. I don't even know if she appears again later or not, to be honest with you. Let's see, does Jolien live? Actually, no. Oh, she died in the Battle of Cairhien.
There you go.
I don't think she's gonna die, but who knows? We'll see. I'm gonna put her as Jolien. All right, moving on to the next person. We have this is a good one, right? Olivia Williams. Now she was listed as Queen, and she was spotted on the Camelin Andor set with Shora in May of 2023. So
yeah, I'm going Morgan. It's malpractice if she's not like I don't know.
Right.
She's with Elida and they're on the Camelin set in the palace and literally she is queen. Like a flashback to some other Andoran queen is ridiculous, especially if Elida's there, right? So just has to be.
Yeah, I can't really talk my way into something else.
Yeah, I tried to, but again, I think it just doesn't work. Nothing else works.
Tom, you want to go against that, or you're on the?
No, it's I'm on the. I'm all aboard the Morghese train.
All right. Toot toot, motherfucker. I'm gonna move. I have no arguments here. I'm going to move on to the next person here who we don't have a name for, Robert Strange. He is a creature performer and voice artist, and his CV listed that he was working on a confidential Amazon Prime project.
Yeah.
And he is 6'5" tall.
Yep. And he's in who does he play in Rings of Power?
He's one of the orcs,
The
right?
orcs, yeah.
The named ones. So I'm gonna put him as Ilfin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Omar. See, Jen would never say that, so I'm just going to put Finn down there because we don't know what they're doing with them, but he's going to be one of those. I'm going to say the same thing. Although the Finn were small, right? Weren't they shorter than?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if they all were. I also have the Finn. I actually have him playing all the Finn. I think that they might do something where they're all like they all look exactly the same, and just to make it more disorienting and weird.
Yeah, what if they just go with one and not the other?
Yes, I also think there's a possibility. Like they undo the snakes and the foxes piece of it, and just they're just the Finn.
And make them one people.
Yeah.
Ilfin.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think we get one trip through there, and they're combined. Well, not one trip, sorry, two. We'll get a trip much later in the series. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to spoil anything. Tom, what do you think? Finn or something else?
Yeah. I just said, yeah, I think not only that, I think that he's going to play all the Finn. I think that you're going to have it so like they all look the same.
So it's going to be like a Willy Wonka type thing where that guy played all the Oompa Loompas?
Yeah. I guess so.
Mies was really quick with that gif. We must have been on the same wavelength there. Deep Roy, right? That was his
Deep
name?
Roy, yes.
It's just the same guy for all of them. That'd be weird. Do we get any Finn songs? Do we get a Finn number?
Next one, I know. Next one.
I always have to remember the eel fin, not snake because it's eel. So they're foxes, right?
Yes.
So what if we just get foxes and no snakes and just, that's all we get?
I would be happy with one or the other. Do I have a preference? Not who are the ones that wear the leather or the human leather straps? That's the foxes, right?
The foxes.
Yeah. So let's do that. Let's get pointy nosed, fox looking people with human skin clothing straps or whatever.
Okay, man. Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah. Give me a minute here. All right. Let's move on to the next person. I don't think there's going to be a lot of arguing over this one. This is Shora Agdashlu. This was multiple sources, I think, kind of pulled this one out. We think she's Elida. She was spotted on the set in late May of 2023 at, here we go, Vranov Daiji Castle. The set was dressed with white lion banners. And John from What Up also reported that she is going to be Elida. Does anyone disagree with that?
No.
No.
I think that's in the bag, and I hate Ray for it because my goodness, like I want Elida to be a better not necessarily like a good person, but a more capable person. Not a buffoon.
Yeah.
Kind of, and I would take that change, like given the talent that they're putting behind it. Because I'm fresh off of a watch of The Expanse. Last year, so I just need that. I need Chris Jen, and I need her to drop a couple F-bombs, please.
Well, you'll get that, but she won't be a likable character, though.
Yeah,
so.
but again, I think I was talking to Rebecca from Reading the Pattern on Twitter the other day, and I totally see, like, if you do the change here, just like you gave us a different Leandrin with more depth, if you do a lot, because in the show, like, I mean, Swan in the show, like, he is, a little bit like over, like way more edgy about Rand, like not her characteristic from the books, right? So maybe it's just like the well-meaning, this is what I believe kind of thing. So you get Elida being the counter to that, just from the other. So again, not completely an incapable operator. She's reliable. She knows what she's doing. She's not an idiot. She's just like Swan, coming at it from the other side, who honestly, like trying to do exactly what Swan's doing, but just without all the baggage that Swan brought in by knowing what Moraine is up to, right?
Yeah.
So I would love to see that for that actress, just to be able to give us that. So.
Yeah, I think you can make. I think you can make Elida still a person who should not be the leader of the Aes Sedai without making her like almost comically incompetent.
Exactly.
Right? She could just be a bad leader and still be a competent person. Yeah.
Has the wrong outlook on how she wants to do things.
Right.
She is capable, because honestly, we know a lot of people who are in power who are very capable. They're just wrong, you know? So
right. Yes.
All right. It's settled. Elida. I've marked it down. All right. We've got 3 more people here I want to get to. So we have Sonova Makodi Lund. No name or character, I should say, that we have listed here. What we do know is that she was filming in South Africa, and she is 6 feet tall. So, Sonove, 6 feet tall, South Africa. Aiel, she's very fair skinned. She's got blonde hair. She's a Norwegian.
She looks like Birgitte Nielsen from from the 80s.
She does. And what does that tell us?
I have her down as Birgitte. As she's going to be the real Birgitte.
Ooh.
And that she's in South Africa because she's in the World of Dreams in Tenchiko.
Oh, wow. I like that. I like that a lot, Tom. I was thinking Aiel.
Think that, Joe. Go for it. Don't let me sway you.
I don't know, though, which Aiel she would be. She could be... Maybe she's... Isendra, Melindra, or did I already say somebody for that role?
I know, right?
I like Melindra or another maiden.
Yeah.
I mean, I have what's it called? I have all of them combined, the 2 of them combined. So.
Cassandra and Melindra?
Yeah, I have them combined. That's my theory, that the 2 of them are going to be combined into one character.
That'd be
yeah. I don't have anybody listed there, so that's it. She's my Melisandra. That's who she is for me. Omar,
Okay.
What do you think?
Can I co-sign onto yours?
Yeah, you like Melisandra? You like my theory? It's true. It's going to be right. It's going to be one of those theories that's right. Melisandra combined. She's definitely beautiful. Somebody that Matt would although she doesn't have enough meat on her bones. I don't think so. I don't know if Matt would like, we know Matt likes a woman with some meat on her bones.
It's true.
But we'll let that slide. And we're going to get the whole... So then, right, if we combine those 2 roles, Ascendra and Melindra, does she get killed by maidens, or does she get killed by Matt? Is the question. Well, if Matt's not in the waste, then she would have to get killed by the maidens. So
She doesn't get killed by the maiden. She gets killed by Haddon and Kadir.
Oh, sorry,
or Matt.
Kadir. Sorry, Kadir. I'm sorry, Kadir. She gets shaved by the maidens.
Well, it depends which side of her gets killed, the Sandra side or the Melindra side, right? So you got Kadir or Matt.
Yeah.
Does she get shaved?
Yes, Tom. She gets shaved.
Okay, good to know.
All right. We got 2 left. So the next one we do have a name for. This is Tandy Sebe, or Sebe, listed as Solinda. So she was another WoTSeries person that was revealed. This Omar, this was you actually.
Yep.
All right. South Africa, right?
Yep. So,
Now-
and I think there was mention of a single episode on that. Yeah, I think her role is going to be what it is in the books.
She's Age of Legends Aes Sedai,
Age of
right?
Legends. This is I can't remember his name. Jonai, who comes and
Yes.
sits there with the Nim, and they're waiting in the by the side while the Aes Sedai are talking about the plans and the Callum
Kalendor,
prophecies and whatnot.
Banner of the Dragon.
Yeah, I would do that. I mean, along the history of the Aiel, that's a very good one. If you're going to keep some of these, if you're not going to go through all the steps in the history of the Aiel, that's a really good one to keep. So I think she is who we think she is, and I like that a lot.
Tom?
I'm sold.
Me too.
Mark me down, same.
And we've seen those set photos of what looks like Age of Legends flashbacks, right? With those wagons where everybody's kind of dressed similarly to how Ishamael dresses. That like modern futuristic look.
Yep. I think that was the African language museum.
Yes, the monument. Yeah. So she's probably one of those people standing there.
Very
All right.
possible.
And our final person we have on our list, this one there's no name for. This is Nukaka Coster Waldo. This is Nicolaj Coster Waldo's wife, right? Nicolaj was in the Game of Thrones. He played Jaime Lannister. This is his wife. She was in South Africa as well filming.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, their daughter's an actress with the same agency as her mom, I think.
Oh, wow.
I was searched the other day and came across as the name is similar. So yeah. But yeah, another one in South Africa. I think she's my guess. Well, my guess. Sorry, don't want to jump in.
Go.
No, go for it.
Probably a wise one.
Oh, she does have the look of a wise one. She's a Greenlandic actor. I didn't know there were. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody from Greenland before. So,
Fezzik?
What's that?
I was making a joke. But anyway, yeah, I have her as a wise one as well. I have her as Byer, because I had someone else as a Mies earlier, but one of those two, most likely.
I'm gonna put her down as a Mies.
All right.
I think she's in this for the long haul. She doesn't look anything like a Mies is described, but I think she's gonna be in this for the long haul. We're gonna get an Mies. Now, Omar, you wanna give us a little more detail on who you think which wise one this is gonna be, just so we can.
I would go Mies or Byer.
You got to pick one.
Okay. What did you do, Tom?
I did Byer.
I'll do a Mies.
Oh,
I mean, what I'm trying to do is cover the basis for this film.
Someone will a better chance of one of us being right. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if it's one or the other, then Takaran Riyadh would have gotten it right. If we both say wrong,
that's true. It's true.
Well, maybe we'll let Jen make her picks. Submit her picks separately, just to send them to us, and I'll write. We could track those as well if she doesn't like any of your picks, Omar. I think she actually had done all the picks already, so I think she has these already somewhere. I should have asked her to share them with me before she left. That probably would have made sense.
I'm very certain she would just go, no, just have Omar's picks for me instead.
Well, I do want to say, just a disclaimer, I explicitly lied about two of the ones that we talked about today. And
ooh,
just we want to make things fun, don't we? So
that's awesome.
So you know who two of these people are, and you totally two of the unknowns.
Can't tell you. Yeah, sorry. It's
That's great. That is
Oh.
great. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Ah.
I'll talk to Jen.
And you purposely picked someone that you knew they weren't?
Yes.
Oh wow.
I love it. I love it. All right.
Oh, Omar.
Listeners, I would ask you to make your picks as to who Omar lied about in his picks. And then if anyone, we'll see when season 3 comes out. If anyone gets them right,
But by the way,
we'll send you a
is
T-shirt.
it really a lie? You have to listen to the words because it's not an outright lie if presented a certain way. Truth and accent tells you.
The truth a WoTSeries writer tells you is not the truth you think it is.
Sometimes, yeah.
Something like that. All right. I want to try to guess. If I guess it right, do I get like some WoTSeries merch? Oh boy. This is fun. Oh, Omar, you got to do that to us. Now I'm going to go back and listen to the episode. Tom's going to go back and listen to it.
Ooh.
And this was kind of funny. My wife got me this a while back. It's a Wheel of Time box. And when you open it inside, it says Rand.
Oh my God. This is awesome.
It's like, that's, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like says Randolph. Oops, sorry. I got the, I'll show it to you. I'll take a picture. But yeah, it says Randolph Thor inside the box. I thought that was really, she didn't know what she was getting me, by the way.
That's great.
She did not know it was a joke. That's great. That's great. So I think this is a good place to wrap it up. We've gone through our entire list. Omar, you didn't get to hear the first half of the list, but that's tough for you. But you probably know who all these people are anyway. So, and you're just keeping it from us. But we forgive you. We won't hold it against you.
There are ones that just like there are some actors just for life of me cannot guess who they are, and there are actors who we have their photos just don't know who they are as people. Like we've been working. We haven't stopped working and digging, by the way, but just things have dried up so much. Mm-hmm. But we still digging, and I'm hoping that we're doing a story next week, a couple of new actors, and then hopefully the week after that or the one after we'll have some more as well.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you, Omar, for coming and filling in for Jen. You almost did a good job. I kid, Omar. So if you're listening to this podcast episode, you probably have already seen the piece of news that WoTSeries dropped. Actually, no, because this releases at like midnight on Monday, and you probably won't drop the article till after that, right?
No, we'll do it before midnight. Like midnight on.
We do it like midnight
Sunday
to Monday.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to the team. We'll see what we can do. Maybe
if not, they can listen to this podcast and then be on the lookout for an article from you, or maybe it'll drop around the same time. Who knows? Maybe they'll listen to it at the same time. But we can talk about that, whatever you're releasing next week with our other guest, Johan Meyer guest, which we won't say who it is now, but
is it Steve?
Really,
I don't know.
Not a lot like Johan Meyer that I could find, but that's all right.
You said, the musical part, right? The wheel.
Wait, did you all see what Sarah Nakamura said on the Dusty Wheel about Steve?
No, I didn't. She said she's not who you think he is. Something.
No, she's like, no, there's never been a Steve. She's like, we don't know where he came from. Kind of like she was almost like, there's no Steve in all of the Steves. It's the weirdest thing.
Well, I think, in the sense that they never put out a casting call for Steve. That was probably just the agency maybe who put Steve on the CV.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so there was that had nothing to do with the Wheel of Time production.
But we always thought that the guy maybe had filmed something and it was cut. But the way Sarah made it sounds that we don't know who the hell Phil Snowden is.
Oh,
that was just fake.
I honestly, I think he had something to do with the show and just it didn't materialize, but it's still on his resume. So it's just kind of and not on his resume. It's on his resume purposefully because at some point he removed the word Steve from it and kept the Wheel of Time, entry, right? So why do that if isn't a thing? But who knows? We've tried to reach out to him and his agency maybe 7 or 8 times. We'll keep doing it. One of these days they'll talk.
I reached out
That's
to them too, and they never responded. Just one time, but they never responded.
It was Simon Howe, the
Yeah.
agency.
I don't even remember. It was so. It was like shortly after the Steve phenomenon
I
started.
dream about it, man. I know. I think I know their email by heart.
I was like, if we can get Steve on the podcast, that would be amazing.
That would be
Phil
amazing.
Snowden.
That would be.
Even if he couldn't talk about it, we just do like the whole episode of him not talking about it.
Yeah.
But no, we don't have Steve on next week either. So unfortunately not. So Omar, once again, thank you. Please, everyone, if you haven't gone to WoTSeries.com or you've probably seen articles posted on social media from them because we're constantly retweeting those articles and they're being shared all over the place. You guys do such amazing work. I've said this before on the podcast. I don't think we'd have a podcast if you guys didn't exist. So,
Yeah.
So really thanks to all the work that you and Eri and Sarah and Lane do, because it keeps us excited. I think it keeps the hype going all through the down times. So thank you so much.
I try to branch out into Rings of Power, but my heart is not in it.
I'm gonna watch this season, and if this season is as bad as the first one, that's it. I'm done with it.
I like the show. It's just my heart is not in it I'm not invested in it. I don't, I'm not like I said, I found a couple of actors that were not released and I'm not excited. Right. I just,
Right.
So it's about the Wheel of Time. Always will be. So.
I think if the show was better, you'd probably be more excited. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say
I
it's Wheel of Time.
really like the show, Joe. I really like it. It's the only show that I was able to do big screen in the basement, sound on, nobody's watching with me. It's slow and I'm loving it because everybody's leaving me alone. So it was that, like, because Wheel of Time was really weird just because of how much we cover and how much you know about it. It's not like, it's really nice to watch a fantasy series that I like the lore and everything. And again, not exactly how I expected it, but then again, I didn't have a lot of expectations going into it. So I liked it. I'm really excited about season 2. So.
Season 2, all the trailers, the teasers and everything that I've seen so far, it does look really good.
Sana Hamri, right, is directing a few of the episodes, right? Or 2 of the episodes, maybe. Yeah. Wheel of Time alum. So I see her. She's been posting a lot about hyping it up on social media lately too. So there's definitely been a lot of hype on social media for it. I see Jennifer Salke constantly posting about Rings of Power to go watch it. So
I saw the advertising on buses in Chicago. It's that kind of show that would never happen with Wheel of Time. You'll get like Times Square or something like the big landmarks, but to get like major city on bus advertising, they're going all out for this one. So
yeah, they're pushing it.
Yep. Well, I think this is like this might be a make or break season for them for that show too. So,
but they're using our season 4 money. I don't like it. So.
We don't have enough. I mean, theoretically, how Rings of Power will likely affect the fate of the Wheel of Time, right? Because I feel like if Rings of Power has a really great season and Wheel of Time doesn't do any better than it did in the previous season, that they might be like, all right, well, we're just wasting money here. It's a lot of money. We could let's put all our money into Rings of Power. Or it could be the opposite.
Or conversely, like it could be, hey, we spent all this money on Rings of Power and Wheel of Time does the same numbers with no money.
Yeah. Well, not no money, but less money.
But I mean, comparatively.
Yeah.
I still think the measure, like the numbers that we see on in the US, tell not the whole story for Rings of Power. I think it's more of a global show, and that's what they're banking on. So
I think the Wheel of Time is too. I think same thing. I think for the Wheel of Time, right? Isn't it really big in India?
I agree, but like I think the more so Lord of the Rings will be like just a huge global hit, than the US show of that show wouldn't like of that show will be not as big as the Wheel of Time share in the US.
Yeah, I mean they had a lot more name, a lot more fame and behind that show than because of Peter Jackson and his movies.
Yep.
Anyway, let's wrap it up here. I want to remind everyone to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Join us over in Discord to continue the conversation there. We also post our episodes on YouTube, so go check out our YouTube page to like and subscribe. We are very close to 1,000 subscribers, and hopefully we'll hit that soon so we can celebrate. And we've also got we're coming close to our 5th anniversary, Tom.
Yeah,
Almost
a couple of weeks.
Almost 5 years doing this, so that's going to be fun and crazy.
Yeah.
Rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our merchandise and Patreon pages to support us that way. Omar, go check out Omar. Go check out WoTSeries.com. Follow them on Twitter so you can get all your Wheel of Time TV show news. That's the best place to go because it's all right there. Everything's right there. You don't need to go anywhere else. So,
Well, still come here, but go there too.
no, I meant like as far as like news publications. Like you don't need to read like the Post or Newsday or the Times. It's just go to WoTSeries.com. That's got all the news you need.
It's true. That's true.
What is it? News that appeal? Numbers that appeal? Who knows?
Well, yeah, for that you have to go to the Dusty Wheel. Thanks everyone for listening, and you'll hear us next time.